Hello, everyone. My name is Dakota Beverly. I am a Cybersecurity Manager at Truist Bank. Today, we're going to be talking about enabling certificates as a service. We're going to talk through how we integrated ServiceNow with the Venafi Trust Protection Platform to make machine identity management fast and easy for application owners. So, more than just implement Venafi, we wanted to establish some top goals that we could achieve through this implementation. First off, we wanted to merit trust and provide business agility by enabling seamless end-to-end encryption of sensitive data across all of Truist environments. We wanted to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements, internal policies, and standards for the protection and privacy of Truist data. Lastly, we want to provide data protection solutions and processes that enable the enterprise to keep information safe in transit. When to make data protection make sense. So where did we start? Well, before we implemented automated Venafi, we had a lot of manual processes. We had one-size-fits-all requests that didn't capture key data elements. We were manually running scripts to create and deliver certificates. There was a lot of back and forth between us and the requesters, trying to track down the right information. A lot of wait time for requesters once they submitted their request to get those approved and created. We ended up becoming a bottleneck for the enterprise. The manual processes led to higher turnaround times, which in turn means it took longer to protect data for new apps and to remediate findings for existing apps. We were becoming a blocker for application administrators. Additionally, like many other organizations, we were running into silos. Different teams were involved in the planning, building, and running of each application. So documentation, changes, and access needs for certificates had to adapt. One team might request a certificate and install it for the first time around, and after that, other teams would be involved in the process. For example, to install the cert on an F5 the next go around after it's renewed, without any input from the original requester. So we wanted to come up with a solution that solved for these challenges. Like most other organizations dealing with PKI, there were some hurdles from those manual processes and from the processes at the time. We saw outages from certificates, extensive impact from certificate-related outages that were occurring frequently, certificate-related outages such as certificates being renewed but not installed or incorrectly installed. And we found that these were symptomatic of deeper issues such as asset management or change management challenges, lack of visibility into certificates expiring. As a highly regulated industry, we also had challenges with compliance because we lacked clear alignment between applications and certificates and which devices they were installed on. We were left unprepared for auditors, regulators, and risk management teams. If we didn't know which certs are used by which applications and where they're used, how could we easily report on which applications were protecting data and which ones needed to? Lastly, we were running into velocity challenges. The process served a gatekeep and didn't move at the speed of business. We had to modernize our machine identity delivery and protect data with more agility. So how did we come up with a solution that solved for those challenges? We had a 3-step approach to this. First, we started with deploying Venafi. We established our certificate inventory through CA imports, and we began to enforce standards through locking down cryptographic settings in Venafi. By using Venafi, we were able to gain better control over our certificate inventory, align certificates to rightful owners, enable safer distribution of our certificates, and provide the right visibility to the right teams. Venafi enabled us to spend less time generating certs and worrying about settings and more time developing a solution and approach that fit the rest of the bank. Secondly, we integrated Venafi with ServiceNow to add value to our data protection stream. All teams within enterprise technology at Truist relied on ServiceNow. It was used for incidents, asset management, change control, and more. Teams were familiar with it and were able to use it to manage their certificates at the end of the day. We modeled the entire certificate lifecycle through different ServiceNow requests, and we leveraged Venafi's API to make this happen and to automate certificate management. Once we had that automation in place, we were able to realign responsibilities. We had a self-service process and we're able to shift accountability to the application teams to manage their own certificates, rather than everything having to flow through a team or shifting off between different silos. We were able to campaign at the enterprise level to educate teams on the new process and role. Right? Once we deployed Venafi, once we integrated, we got to go spread the good word, take advantage of avenues like lunch and learns, department meetings to broadcast this new process and automation we built that they could take advantage of. So let's start with Venafi. Venafi is more than just a certificate repository, right? What's critical and amazing about this application is that it integrates with your critical infrastructure within the enterprise. It provides a CA agnostic layer for your certificate management. So it integrates with your machine identity providers, such as your external or cloud PKI. So think DigiCert, Entrust, Sectigo, as well as those cloud CAs like AWS. You can use Venafi to accommodate both your internal and external CAs. You can also use Venafi to integrate with your on-premise applications that run the rest of the enterprise, like Active Directory, your IAM platforms, your event management and logging, as well as data science for analytics into your certificate management. Venafi can be used to actually automate the delivery of your machine identities to the downstream consumers. So those devices where you will install certificates, your F5s, your web servers, and middleware. Lastly, Venafi provides both a web portal for your end users to actually log in and use those certificates, to download them, to get information about their certificates, and an API for you to actually integrate with and automate your machine identities, which is what we use to develop this workflow. This workflow represents our approach to integrating Venafi into ServiceNow. Like I said earlier, we modeled the entire certificate lifecycle, from issuance to renewal to retirement and destruction of those certificates via different ServiceNow requests. Application owners who needed a new certificate could simply go into ServiceNow, fill out a form indicating what they need for their certificate, what attributes they need, common name, SANS, provide us which application it was going to be used for, which devices, and then we sent that through an approval workflow. We were able to route that to the application owner, enabling the right person to approve that certificate before sending it to Venafi via API for that to be created. Once it's created, we were actually track the devices and applications CMDB via CI relationships. So no matter which team had to pick up that certificate or how we needed to report on that certificate downstream, we had all that information saved. That certificate, again, created automatically and then tracked for expiration in Venafi's inventory. We were able to send notifications to the right teams by automatically pulling the team off the application record, so that whenever it was time for that certificate to expire, we were able to notify that team. That team could go back to ServiceNow and submit a request to renew the certificate. It would again go through that approval workflow before Venafi automatically renewing that certificate. We did the same thing in the case of retirements if the certificate was simply no longer needed, or if for some reason the certificate was compromised, they could simply go to ServiceNow and revoke that certificate. So let's talk about the results we saw from this integration. We were able to accelerate and protect machine identities at a scale we'd never seen before. The average turnaround time for certificate requests decreased 83% since we deployed this solution. In the same time span, the number of machine identities we were generating each quarter multiplied by nearly 10 times. In 2020, we were able to continue this trend of delivering TLS certificates quickly. And again in Q2 of this year, when we consolidated our systems for a single banking experience, we likewise saw that we were able to provide new TLS certificates on demand and continue to beat the expectations of our customer through our integrated solution and automation that we delivered. The enterprise saw many benefits from this integration automation. We're able to provide a self-service, customer-oriented process through decentralizing and democratizing certificates. This allowed application owners to easily get TLS certificates for their applications. We had policy-driven automated certificate management, enabling our team to easily handle a massive merger with SunTrust to form Truist Bank without skipping a beat. We had automation and efficiency by tightly integrating Venafi's API into one of our most critical tools, providing our customers with the flexibility and acceleration they needed. They could depend on this service and get certificates without waiting. Finally, we had streamlined compliance reporting. Other highly regulated banks and industries will see benefit from this. We had a unified platform in ServiceNow that facilitated better reporting on certificate coverage, allowing the team to more easily spot and remediate noncompliance. We were able to demonstrate how we were securing applications and provide meaningful data when it was requested of us. Thanks for listening to my presentation about how we integrated Venafi with ServiceNow, and we actually automated certificate management at Truist.